This video exposes the extremely dark secrets of the drama queen Britney Spears. Hello friends, this is Unmasked Truth with Harmanjeet Saini, where I provide unique analysis of world events based on the unmasked truth that after surrender Germany continued World War II clandestinely and became a killing machine. I also provide true news that you will find nowhere else. On June 23rd, 2021, 39-year-old Britney Spears, in a 24-minute statement, spoke to the court before Los Angeles probate judge Brenda Penny against the conservatorship, partly controlled by her father, that she has lived under for 13 years. The event was live streamed to the media. The revelations about the life she has lived have been described by many as a bombshell. A day earlier, the New York Times, citing private legal documents, stated that she has been trying to end the conservatorship for several years, accusing her father of mismanagement and the extreme legal and other costs involved. Brittany further described what she went through in the court statement, stating, I worked 7 days a week, no days off, which in California, the only similar thing to this is called sex trafficking. Making anyone work against their will, taking all their possessions away, credit card, cash, phone, passport, and placing them in a home where they work with the people who live with them. They all lived in the house with me, the nurses, the 24/7 security. There was one chef that came there and cooked for me daily during the weekdays. They watched me change every day, naked, morning, noon, and night. My body, I had no privacy, door for my room. I gave 8 vials of blood a week. She stated that she worked 10 hours a day, had no say in her schedule, unable to see her kids and her boyfriend. She would like to get married and have a baby, but she has an IUD, that is an intrauterine device, placed inside her so that she cannot get pregnant, and the conservatorship will not allow her to have the IUD removed. Brittany claimed in her statement that she was accused of not participating in rehearsals for a Vegas show and not taking her medicine. She stated that is false. When she no longer wanted to do her Vega show, she was taken off her medication and put on lithium, a more potent psychiatric drug, and was then sent to rehab. She said she called her dad about the decision and cried over the phone for an hour, but he told her she had to do it. She said she has been abused by her therapist. She would like to have her sessions with her therapist coming to her home rather than in an office where she is photographed by the paparazzi. She says she cannot get her nails done or choose the color of her kitchen cabinets. She said she feels ganged up on and bullied, left out alone, stating, I deserve to have the same rights as anybody else by having a child, a family, any of those things, and more so. I have been in shock. I am traumatized. She called the conservatorship as abusive and pleaded with the court, I just want my life back. I want the conservatorship to end without having to be evaluated. She told the judge, Ma'am, my dad and anyone involved in this conservatorship and my management who played a huge role in punishing me when I said no, ma'am, they should be in jail. Now, it is for the court to evaluate her statement with the help of doctors, psychiatrists, and investigators. Apparently, she has gone through some traumatic experiences, but not without a cause. Here are some extremely ugly and extremely dark secrets in the life of Britney Spears. You will easily see her demonic influence frame of mind. She is 39 years old. The existence of German masqueraders and their ugly, wild deeds were fully discovered only around 2000 to 2001. Till that time, they had been murdering white people of non German ancestry with abandon, either cremating them alive in electric crematoriums, in medical murders, serial killings, or in other clandestine ways. Till that time, the only way musicians, sportsmen, businessmen, or others could find success in life, was to murder a white person of non German ancestry. Britney Spears began her stardom when she was 17 years old. That would be around the year 1998 to 1999. Therefore, she got her stardom as a reward for committing murder by cremating a child or adult alive in an electric crematorium. At that age, her mother, Lynn Spears, must have been deeply involved in the crime as the primary culprit and the influencer in Britney's life to commit such an act. But that's not the only ugly black secret in the life of Britney Spears. Around 1999, Satan gave an order to the Germans, who passed it on to German masquerader leaders in the United States, to murder as many Israelites as possible by poisoning them or by other means. Israelites means Americans and Britons of non German ancestry. The main targets were the information technology professionals, top key scientists, serving and retired military officers, statesmen, business, and political leaders. The order also went out for spouses who had married Israelite spouses, that is, non German spouses, to murder their spouses and their own children. These orders were carried out. People were poisoned or murder attempts made in other ways, but God intervened to prevent these attempts from succeeding. So Brittany and her mother, Lynn Spears, obeyed this order and made an attempt on the life of their father and husband, respectively, James P. Spears, around that time, probably by poisoning him. But God preserved his life. That is the kind of women Britney Spears and her mother Lynn Spears are. God's intervention at that time probably saved tens of millions of lives in America alone, and probably additional millions in British Commonwealth nations. But there is much more ugliness to the Britney Spears story. You must have heard of Katerina Witt. She is the East German ice skating star, a two-time Olympic gold medal winner, and is now 55 years old. She lives in America and has never been married. Hers is a tragic story. Katerina Witt has brunette hair and is not as white looking as the whitest looking Europeans with golden blonde hair and deep blue eyes. She was actually pushed out of Germany by Germans to settle down in the United States, try and marry a blue-eyed blonde American gymnast or athlete, and in the process contribute to the darkening of white Americans. As bigoted as this sounds, this was precisely what the Germans wanted to accomplish. That has been the strategy of German masqueraders for at least the past 5 to 6 decades. That German strategy had been discovered where Katerina Witt came to settle down in America. So she was unsuccessful in marrying an American white athlete with blue eyes and blonde hair and has remained unmarried. It is a very tragic story, but the key is that she was pushed out of Germany because she has brunette hair. Germans have been doing that to other similar looking Germans for decades. So the spirit of Hitler and that of Satan the devil is alive and well in Germany. And the Hitler spirit is alive and well among German masqueraders in the United States and Britain as well. The Bible reveals that the same spirit led to Satan's corruption, or the same attitude led to Satan's corruption and rebellion against God. Ezekiel the prophet reveals in Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 17. Thus says the Lord God, you seal up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You have been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, and the beryl, and the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of your tabrets and of your pipes was prepared in you in the day that you were created. That means Lucifer was given an incredible musical talent. And continuing, you are the anointed cherub that covers, and I have set you so. You were upon the holy mountain of God. You have walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. You were perfect in your ways from the day that you were created till iniquity was found in you. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty. You have corrupted your wisdom by reason of your brightness. So it was Lucifer's beauty and talent that corrupted his wisdom, leading him to rebel against God and make a foolish attempt to wrest the throne of the universe from God. Thereafter he was called Satan, meaning adversary of God. He uses the same strategy to corrupt human beings. Though all human beings who gain power are susceptible to corruption, he is able to corrupt the good looking, talented, and the physically powerful much more easily, using vanity and a feeling of superiority over others. That is the satanic and German disease that has infected Britney Spears. I will do a more detailed video on German beliefs about themselves and other human beings, but this is the essence. They believe they only have the divine spark and immortal spirit in them, whereas the rest of humanity are just physical human beings like cats and dogs with no divine spark or immortal soul in them or any future. They have been created merely to serve those who have the divine spark in them. Since they are like cats, dogs, and mosquitoes, they can be used as Germans see fit or killed without compunction because they have no future eternal life. That is the virus that has infected Britney Spears and her siblings, and then which was passed on to them by their mother. They feel they have the divine spark in them because they have been born with blonde hair and blue eyes. They despise their father because they think he's mere flesh like any cat or dog. That's why Britney Spears and her mother had no qualms about making an attempt on her life. Making a people feel superior to others is the diabolical strategy Satan uses humans to oppress and brutally treat one another. Germans believe that they alone are a special human creation. That's why they have butchered much of humanity without any compunction. Catholics believe they alone will go to heaven. That's why they too have massacred and burnt alive other Christians and those of other faiths in attempts to forcibly convert them to Catholicism. Muslims believe they alone will get to paradise, whereas the rest of humanity will be tortured for eternity in an ever burning hell. So they feel no qualms about slaughtering the infidels. That is the spirit that has invaded Britney Spears, her mother, and her siblings, which is the spirit that Satan has imparted to all these leaders in Catholicism or among Muslims. Sikhs believe that they alone are pure and will be saved. Surprisingly, they are the only religion that believe it does not entitle them to kill anyone. Instead, they have been enjoined to protect the weak and defenseless by their gurus. The problem with Spears goes even much deeper than just believing that she has the divine spark in her and has an immortal soul. Any who believe they have a slight amount of German blood in them and have bought into Satan's lies also have that belief. It makes them feel superior to the rest of humanity. But even among Germans, Satan has created a sort of hierarchy. At the top of the hierarchical chain are blue-eyed blondes with very ruddy, reddish pinkish skin. Slightly lower than them are other shades of blonde or light brown hair and other shades of eyes and skin color. Lower than them are those who have darker hair, brown eyes, and swarthy skin color. That is why Germans have been pushing out Germans lower down in the chain to the United States and other countries over the past 6 to 7 decades. Germans mixed with the darker races are lowest in the chain, but they too are needed as porters, so they are led to believe that they too have the divine spark in them. I have come across many of them and witnessed their behavior. They too have fully imbibed Satan's philosophy and feel equally superior to the rest of humanity, even though they may look not much different from swarthy Hispanics. God's prophets have had a high status in religious circles because God has communicated with them. Most of them begin their prophecies with the words, "The word of the Lord came to me," or came to the prophet Micah or Hosea, and so on. It was a privilege and joy to the prophets to receive communication directly from the God of the Old Testament, Jesus Christ, or through his angels. Now, Satan too communicates with the Germans and German masqueraders, even with those mixed with the other races. There are different levels of communications between Satan, his demons, and German masqueraders. Satan and the demons can communicate with every human being by putting thoughts, ideas, moods, and feelings in their minds, but they do not put actual words in normal people's minds. Apparently, God has not allowed them to do so. They can communicate in words with only those who have accepted to communicate with them. Those who deal with spirits are in that category. Germans and German masqueraders belong to that category. They have expressed their desire and accepted to have Satan and the demons communicate with them, so they have been seduced into doing so. Germans and German masqueraders are already trained to trust that such a communication is from Satan and his demons if they are asked to do something to someone, if it would benefit them or their group. That is why they are able to do so much evil around the world. They know exactly what demons have asked them to do, clearly in words, and do it. Then there is a special category of Germans and German masqueraders with whom Satan directly communicates, or through his demons with the highest authority under him. After all, he is a god to them and communicates directly only with special ones and mimics the way the God of the Bible deals with human beings. Now, lower level demons communicate with the common people, but Satan and his highest ranking demons communicate only with those in the special category who are the blue eyed blondes with the ruddiest or the whitest pinkish reddish skin among both men and women. Britney Spears falls in that category. Satan, the greatest seducing spirit, deals with men and women like Britney Spears to corrupt them and make them feel extra special. At the top of that hierarchy of the special ones politically is the German president Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Satan communicates his global strategy only to him and no one else. He does not talk directly to the German military brass, to Angela Merkel or Ursula von der Leyen. He communicates only with Steinmeier. But what I'm sharing with you is based on decades of observation of German masqueraders. I hope you can now understand why Britney Spears and her mother and siblings are so dangerous. They are capable of committing an incredible amount of evil under Satan's influence and will generally not hesitate to do what they've been asked to do by him. The God of the Bible, of course, knows what human beings influenced by Satan and the demons are capable of. That's why he gave specific commands on how to deal with such people living in Israelite lands, which include America, British Commonwealth nations, Israel, France, and the democracies of Northwest Europe. Now, God commanded in Leviticus 19, verse 31, "Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God." The definition of vision is a sorcerer or one who practices sorcery, which is defined as the use of power gained from the assistance or control of evil spirits, especially for divining. A similar spirit is defined as a spirit or demon that serves or prompts an individual. In this verse, God commands his people not to have anything to do with those who deal with Satan and the demons. Then in Leviticus 20, verse 6, God commands how to deal with those who follow those who have familiar spirits or are wizards. It states, "And the soul that turns after such as have familiar spirits and after lizards to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that man and will cut him off from among his people." That means such a person should be put to death. These two verses tell us how to deal with those who follow those who deal with demons. Then God tells us how to deal with people who actually deal with familiar spirits, meaning Satan and the demons in Leviticus 20, verse 27, meaning who have similar familiar spirits and are wizards. Leviticus 20, verse 27 states, "A man also or woman that has a familiar spirit or that is a wizard shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them." God commands that such people should be put to death so that we destroy the source of the evil. Then for emphasis, God repeated in Deuteronomy 18, verses 9 to 13, the same instructions. "When you are come into the land which the Lord your God gives you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of these nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or his daughter to pass through the fire," meaning infant sacrifices, "or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do such things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord your God does drive them out from before you. You shall be perfect with the Lord your God." After America has had 5 to 6 million white Americans of non-German ancestry cremated alive in electric crematoriums, 3 to 4 million additional medically murdered, and others become victims of serial killers, and tens of millions almost became murder victims of spouses and children, such as the case of Britney Spears and her mother Lynn Spears, and were forced to abort 60 million potential human beings. Do you still think the God of the Old Testament was a cruel God who gave these statutes and judgments against people who deal with Satan and the demons? Do you think I am being cruel when I am stating that the punishment for German masqueraders and their allies should be to be exterminated, man, woman, and child, because of the horrendous crimes they have already committed? I hope you can now see Britney Spears in a clearer light. She is very close to what the Bible defines as a witch. Modern witches don't wear all black and pointy hats. They come in many shapes and sizes. German masquerader paparazzi gave whites among the British royal families such as Diana and celebrities such as Madonna and Dolly Parton an extremely harrowing time, even though they had committed no crimes. The treatment meted out to Britney Spears is very mild in comparison, especially after taking into account the horrendous crimes she and her mother have committed. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please continue to watch my videos and read my articles on important world events, World War III watch, politics, international business, advice on health and medical problems, and much more for in-depth and insightful analysis. Please follow me on my YouTube and Facebook channels, Unmasked Truth with Harmanjeet Saini, to get information on the latest postings of articles and videos.